3 years ago, I got a phone call from a friend I've known since we were boys. His voice was shaking. He said, "I'm standing in the parking lot of the church. Everyone is inside. My suit is on. The ring is in my pocket." I asked him what was wrong. He took a long breath and said, "I just realized I'm about to trade my entire piece for a round of applause." He didn't go in. He drove home alone, and the embarrassment of that day, he told me later, was nothing compared to the relief that washed over him. That moment stuck with me. It started me on a different kind of journey. I began really talking, to other men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. I spoke with divorce lawyers who specialize in what they call sunset divorces, financial planners who've seen retirement dreams evaporate, and hospice workers who've witnessed the final, complicated years of remarried life. The patterns I discovered weren't just anecdotes, they were a roadmap of quiet ruin. Today, I'm sharing this with you not as an expert, but as a messenger. If you are a man over 60 considering remarriage, or if you love one, you need to see the 5 hidden costs that nobody toasts to at the wedding. Cost 1. Your financial foundation becomes a shared liability. Let's speak plainly. By this age, you're not building wealth anymore. You're stewarding it. It's the fortress you spent a lifetime constructing, brick by brick. A marriage license isn't a romantic promise in the eyes of the law. It's a master key to that fortress. I learned about a man named Frank, a retired teacher, 70 years old, careful with his pension and his modest investments. He remarried a charming, kind woman. 18 months later, he discovered she had quietly been using a joint credit card to prop up her adult son's failing business. The debt was 6 figures. Because his name was on the account, it was now legally their debt. His fortress wasn't just breached, the bank was helping itself to the furniture. An estate attorney told me this, and I'll never forget it. "In my world, love is an emotion. A mortgage is a fact, and in a courtroom, facts always win." Remarriage can trigger a silent wealth transfer you never authorized. Your Social Security benefits can be recalculated, often downward. The inheritance you promised your children can be legally diverted. Your careful plans become subject to another person's financial history, their health, and even their children's emergencies. You are no longer just planning for yourself. You are underwriting another life with all its unseen risks. Cost 2. The erosion of your hard-won freedom. For decades, your life was likely a schedule of obligations. Now, you've earned the sacred right to your own rhythm, the silent morning coffee, the unannounced drive to nowhere, the ability to say, "Today, I do nothing," without explaining it to a soul. Remarriage often ends that. You re-enter a world of gentle negotiations that over time feel like 1,000 tiny surrenders. It's her thermostat setting. It's her family's holiday traditions that now eclipse your own. It's the gradual disappearance of your solitary hobbies to make room for couples activities. A man named Leo, 72, described it to me as living in a museum of someone else's preferences. He missed his old comfortable chaos. His blood pressure medication dosage was increased 6 months after the wedding. His doctor asked about new stress factors. He just shook his head. The stress wasn't from conflict, it was from the constant, quiet pressure to edit himself out of his own life. Cost 3. The family earthquake you didn't see coming. Your decision is a stone thrown into a pond. The furthest ripples touch the people you've loved the longest. Your adult children will smile, they will hug you, they will say, "Congratulations, Dad," and beneath that, almost every one of them is asking 2 terrifying questions. Do I still have a place in his life? And will I lose my heritage? I spoke with a family mediator who sees this daily. The children, she said, feel a second, slower loss. First, they lost their mother. Now, they watch their father's time, attention, and resources, the family home, the vacation spot, the financial legacy, being integrated into a new family unit. It feels like a betrayal, and that bitterness can last for generations. You become the rope in a silent tug of war. Holidays become diplomatic summits. Conversations with your own grandchildren become scheduled appointments. The very people who are your living legacy can slowly drift out of reach, leaving you isolated in the very companionship you sought. Cost 4. The caregiving trap. This is the most brutally practical cost. The statistics don't lie. The later years are often years of declining health. When you remarry after 60, you are statistically signing up for a significant chance of becoming a full-time caregiver or needing one yourself far sooner than you imagine. What begins with holding hands can, with one diagnosis, become managing medications, navigating hospital bureaucracy, and spending your savings on in-home care. A financial advisor shared a story of a client, a vibrant 68-year-old who married his high school sweetheart. 2 years later, she was diagnosed with a degenerative condition. His $400,000 retirement fund, meant for travel and leisure, was gone in under 5 years, spent on specialized care. He is now 78, financially dependent on his own children and exhausted. This isn't about abandoning someone you love. It's about the raw reality that your body and your savings in your 70s are not the limitless resources they were in your 40s. The most loving promise you can make at this age might be, "I will be by your side," not, "I will legally and financially dissolve my own safety net for you." Cost 5. The theft of your final chapter. These years are not an epilogue. They are a distinct, crucial, and profound season of life, a time for reflection, for wisdom, for closing circles, and for leaving a gentle mark on the world. It requires energy, solitude, and fierce protection of your attention. Remarriage is a full-time startup company. It consumes that precious energy in decorating, blending families, establishing new routines, and navigating the emotional labor of a new intimate partnership. The quiet you need for your own soul's work is replaced by the noise of constant collaboration. An 81-year-old man, Henry, told me after his second wife passed, "I spent the last 15 years building a new marriage. Now I'm too tired to write the book I always promised I would. I have a photo album full of pictures with a woman my grandchildren barely knew, and a head full of stories that will die with me." He didn't say it with anger, but with a grief for the self he had postponed permanently. So, what is the answer? Loneliness? Absolutely not. Connection is a human need, perhaps the deepest one. The men I've seen thrive in their later years speak of something different. They don't call it remarriage. They call it a golden partnership. It is a deep, committed, loving bond that has one non-negotiable clause at its center: the protection of each other's peace. It is a life that lives in 2 independent houses. It has a prenuptial agreement for the soul, respecting each man's legacy, family, and sacred solitude. It says, "I love you too much to legally entangle you. I choose you every day by choice, not by contract." Before you take that vow, pause. Look past the flowers and the music. Ask yourself the one question that matters. Am I looking for a wife, or am I looking for peace? Because in the end, you may have to choose, and one of those things you've already spent a lifetime earning.